Looking for the perfect gift this holiday season for yourself or your bestie? Look no further. Check out the Girl Be Free shop where you will find gifts with meaning and purpose. First, you'll have my Free Your Mind journal, which is a self-guided journal that will help you get clear about what you want. There are 40 journal prompts that are very specific to help you get your thoughts out of your head and down on paper, but not just to write things down, but then be motivated to take action after you clear your head. You'll also find coloring pages, additional writing exercises, and affirmations in the journal. Next, I have my Girl Be Free pen, where you can wear it on your hat, your tote bag, your scarf, your coat, wherever. And you're basically just reminding yourself to girl be free and live your life to the fullest. Lastly, you'll find my Girl Be Free affirmation card, which is a deck of 31 cards with a different affirmation on each one. Each day, pull a different card and just set your mind and meditate on something positive. So go to girlbefree.com to find the perfect gift for yourself or your friends and family. Again, that's girlbefree.com. Hey, and welcome to Girl Be Free, a podcast designed to help women get unstuck and cultivate the life you want on your terms. I'm Siobhan, your host, and I'm passionate about empowering women to live their best life. Each week, you'll hear pep talks that will inspire and push you to take action so you too can start to be free and live the life you want. You can learn more about me at BeFreeProject.com. Now let's jump into the show. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Girl Be Free podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan, where I will inspire and motivate you to show up for yourself. This week, I am loving the book, Heart Talk, Poetic Wisdom for a Better Life by Cleo Wade. And this is such a cute little book of poetry and little inspirational writings. I feel like it's very, it's inspirational, it's encouraging, and definitely relatable. The author, Cleo, is really just having a conversation and letting us in on her journal or something like that. But I am really enjoying it. And I want to share one of the poems that stuck out to me along with the excerpt that comes along with it. So the title of the poem is It's Only Natural. Of course I've changed, darling. I've grown. And now I'm going to read the excerpt that goes along with the poem. Change is necessary. It is important. And it is also what makes life exciting. When we fear change, it keeps us in an energy of feeling stuck, powerless, and resentful. But when we embrace change, we open ourselves to the understanding that anything is possible. Life is not supposed to stay the same. We are not supposed to stay the same. Our life, our communities, and our world are always in bloom. When we understand this, we see that change is growth, and growth is essential for each of us to reach our individual and collective potential. That speaks volumes to me because I am always looking to change and better my life in some way or fashion. And so reading that along with the poem just really spoke to me. So I wanted to share that with you as well. And I will link the book in the show notes so that you can check it out as well. Again, any book that I mention or anything like that throughout the podcast, you will find links in my show notes, okay? Next, I want to read our weekly listener review. And this week, I'm reading a review from SYLC_Coach Bren. And the title of her review is Yes. And she says, I found my new favorite podcast. I'm a self-proclaimed podcast-aholic, so I am happy to have another like-minded woman to learn from and with. Thank you for being so open and sharing your life and lessons with us. I love that. Thank you so much, Coach Bren, for sharing a review. I really appreciate it. Again, be sure to share your review on Apple Podcasts. And you can also let me know what you think of each episode by shooting me an email at hello@girlbefree.com. And then, of course, make sure you're following our Instagram page, which is Girl Be Free Podcast. I will be back next month on social media. I have been a little MIA, but I'm going to talk about that in just a few. So this week's topic is my year in review, shift and show up. And this is going to be part one. I'm going to do a two-part series because I realized as I was taking notes for the episode, it was going to be very long if I went over all of 2018 and then let you know what I have coming up for 2019. All right, so every year I choose a phrase and a word for my year. I have not come up with my 2019 yet, but for 2018, it was shift and show up. And the reason that I chose that particular phrase is because I needed every area of my life to shift, and I needed that to be in the forefront of my mind as I progressed through the year. And then I wanted to show up in a bigger way than I ever have before. And I have to say that I have been very intentional with that. And I feel like I did achieve that in many areas of my life, but then I'm going to share with you in some ways how I did not, because I am all about being transparent, being authentic, and letting you know the real, because as I say all the time, I do not have it all together, but I am committed to doing the self-work. So first, I want to share what I am most proud of that I accomplished in 2018. And it was hard to kind of narrow down this list, and I'm sure that I'm missing some things. But what came top of mind, number one is having an event in Columbus this year. In August, I hosted my first out-of-city event for 2018 at Zora's house in Columbus, Ohio. It was me stretching out of my comfort zone because I'm very comfortable with having events in Cleveland, because I've been doing it for so long. But to take it to another city is always that apprehension, like, oh, I wonder who's going to show up. I wonder if it'll be as great and all these things. And the lady showed up. I believe there was no seats left. And it was such an amazing experience to connect with people or my Be Free family that were in another city. And it was a morning workshop. So that was another thing. Typically my workshops or meetups are in the evening. This time it was early in the morning, like 10 a.m. or something. But the ladies were there. They were excited. And that was a really great experience for me. So I am really proud that I stepped out of my comfort zone and hosted an event in another city. And I'm excited to do more of those next year. Another thing that I'm most proud of is one of the things I wanted to do this year was really expand my reach and connect with my ideal client in other ways. And so I built a strong social media platform and, my email list and all that jazz. And what I wanted to do also was reach people where they were. So I decided to host events at hair salons. And I wanted to do that because I felt like, okay, my ideal client, she knows the importance of looking pretty on the outside. So she's committed to getting her hair done, her nails done, looking cute on the outside, but yet broken inside. And I know that with all the research and everything that I do, I understand that very clearly. And so I decided this year to take my Be Free meetups to hair salons. And I think I went to about 7 or 8 of them this year. It was such an amazing experience overall. I mean, I was able to connect with my ideal client. Many of the women who attended these meetups at the hair salons, they ended up connecting with me in other ways. Some of them have come to my meetups that I've hosted outside of the salons. So that was really cool because that was definitely out of my comfort zone. It took a lot of strategy to make that work. But I'm really proud of that because I've been able to build relationships with other entrepreneurs, connecting with their clients, them trusting me to come into their space and host a meetup and have these conversations in a space where women were comfortable to have them, because we all know we are very comfortable with our hairstylists. We tell them all the business. And so what better way than to go into a place that they're already comfortable and teach them how to show up for themselves, how to focus on self-care, personal growth, and all of that. So I'm very proud of that. Another thing that I'm proud of, and this just came to mind, that's not on my list, is celebrating 1 year of hosting this podcast. I didn't know what was to come of this. I just knew that I wanted to share and I wanted to talk and speak with my audience in a different way. And for me to celebrate 1 year of doing this with over 30,000 downloads in a year is pretty freaking amazing. And I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of everyone who decided to subscribe and listen and share and give feedback and all of that jazz. So I'm really proud of that because it's really, I don't want to say it's hard, but being an entrepreneur is not easy. There's so many different things that you're facing any given day. And I believe that we all want to put out good work that we're passionate about. And this is one thing that I am really committed to. So again, to celebrate 1 year of podcasting with that amount of downloads, with it just being me talking week after week, I'm really proud of that. Okay, this next one probably will be a little funny to some, but I'm proud of putting together my new bookcase. I purchased a new bookcase maybe about a month or more ago. I needed it really bad. Sometime this last year, I had my bookcase, another one, and it ended up breaking on me. And I have so many books. And so for months, my books were stacked on the floor in boxes, and it was like driving me crazy. And I was just so annoyed by it. And so I purchased a really nice bookcase. I think I talked about it on here already, but and I put it together with my son, more so me, but he helped. And I really love it. Like every time I look at it and see my books, it just brings me so much joy. I don't know, if you're an avid reader like myself and you collect books, it is heartbreaking when you don't have order with them or when they're all over the place. So to have my bookcase and to put it together myself, I'm very proud of that. Another thing that I'm proud of is I committed to hosting events every single month for the year of 2018. From January until October, I hosted events every single month. Keep in mind, I just mentioned that I hosted 7 or 8 events at hair salons. So there were some months where I was hosting like 3 events per month. I think in August, I hosted 4 events, including 2 salons, going to Zora's house, and then having my own local meetup. And y'all, and I've said this many times before, and I didn't realize what I was getting into. I just knew that I come alive when I speak. There is nothing like being connected with a community of positive, like-minded women and getting that human interaction and knowing that I'm creating something that's necessary and that's needed. And I was so like, when I made the go, I'm like, okay, I can do this. And then mid-year, I was like, what the heck? Because I was literally like, once one event was done, I immediately had to go into promotion mode for the next upcoming event. And I didn't have a team or no assistant. So it was all me. Another thing that I'm proud of is many of those events that I've held here in Cleveland, they sold out month after month. And so I'm really proud of that. Number one, because I can see that there's a need for it, and getting women to come together to see that we can support, we can encourage, we can be motivated by one another and inspired to really show up and do the inner work. Like that makes me very proud. And to do it for the length of time that I did it, to stick to it, and then be able to, I don't know, I've hosted over 20 events this year, which I don't even know how I did it, but I did. And I'm very proud of that because everyone who has attended has given me nothing but positive feedback. They're asking like, when is the next one? Are you doing more? What's to come? And then not just cultivating this offline community and hosting these events every month, but I'm very proud that this year, and it seems like it's been longer, but it hasn't. In June, I launched the Be Free Inner Circle, which is my online community, actually my online global community of women who are committed to doing the inner work. And so I launched that in June of this year, and to see what it's become just in this short amount of time, I am very proud and very happy with the women that are in there, how they're showing up for themselves. And it's just really exciting. And if you want to know more about the Be Free Inner Circle, the link is in the show notes. So definitely, if you want to become a member, we will welcome you with open arms. I didn't even realize this happened this year, but it did. I created the Girl Be Free affirmation cards and the Girl Be Free pen. And I'm really proud of that as well because I'm creating resources that I wish I had when I got started. And the sales have been out the roof and the feedback has been so amazing. And then to top it all off, to be going really hard with selling them and everything that I've been doing along with the Free Your Mind Journal to now be in Material Life in New Orleans, which is a store owned by Carla Williams. And I haven't even had these cards and pens out for a full year. That is just, when I think about it, I'm like, wow, like, and I'm holding back tears because I'm really proud of myself. And there has been some moments when I've questioned if I was doing the right thing and if I should just give up, if I should just quit or what have you. Because again, entrepreneurship is not easy. But then when I'm able to, do these amazing things and it's hitting me as I'm saying all of this out loud, like, wow, like God sees me. And I am really just scratching the surface of what's to come, of many great things. And I'm excited that I haven't given up, and I'm grateful that I haven't given up because I know without question, and I share it all the time on here, that I'm doing purpose-driven work that I am passionate about. And I hope as I share these things that you are inspired and then you are encouraged and then motivated to make your own self proud. The next thing are more personal goals for me. I'm going to try to hold back tears for this one, but I connected with my brother for the first time a few weeks ago. I am so proud and so grateful for that. I don't talk about family too much on here outside of I guess the dysfunctional way that I've grown up or what have you. But I do have a brother on my father's side, and I met him for the first time when I was a kid. I used to spend time over there a little bit in the summer times, I believe. It just stopped. And then when I got married in 2003, my brother and my father came to my wedding. And then I haven't seen him in 15 years until a couple of weeks ago. And I've always wondered how he was doing and wanted to connect and wanted to have some connection with someone based on, not having a relationship with my mother or father. I've always yearned for that. A couple of weeks ago, I was at a fundraiser event. I'm greeting the people that are coming in. He walks in with his girlfriend, and we just stand and look at each other for I don't know, a few seconds. And then we start saying how are you? How you been? That kind of thing, and give each other a hug. And I was like, oh my goodness, to see him in the most random place at this fundraiser event. Let me just say this before I go on. I started therapy a few months ago, I believe, to deal with the abandonment issues of my father. I've been dealing with it, working through it, journaling about these things. And then out of the blue, I see my brother. And so that when I say God sees me, I really mean that God sees me. And this feels really good to me right now. We've been texting almost every day. We're meeting for brunch this weekend. And it means a lot that I now have some connection. And one thing that he said when he texted me, he said, I've been watching you on social media and I'm so amazed at all the things that you're doing. And I'm really proud to have you as my sister and looking forward to connecting and all that jazz. And I was like, wow, because I had no clue that he was, seeing what I was doing on social media because we haven't had any engagement in the last 15 years. So that, again, I'm really proud of that. That is a highlight. These are all highlights of 2018. And that means a lot to me because now I have someone who shares the same blood through our father with me that now we can start to develop a relationship. The next thing is I'm very proud, or a highlight for this year is this is my 4th year homeschooling my children. And I get asked all the time, how are you doing all these things? And honestly, y'all, I don't know. I just do. But I'm proud of that because homeschooling is not easy. We've had a lot of transitions over the last couple of years, but I'm proud that I am in this space. And number one, I'm able to do it. And that they are learning, they are growing, they're prospering, both of my children. I feel really good about that. And then the last thing that I want to make note of for this year is celebrating 15 years of marriage with my husband. We met when we were 18 and got married when we were in our early 20s. And this year we celebrated 15 years of marriage, and that is just like wow. And I can now say that my husband is my best friend. It's been a lot of growing. Of course, anyone married, you know that. And I'm just very, very grateful of what we have and what we are building together in our family, and then also like what we're doing individually. So that those are all the things that I am most proud of. My best memories or experiences of 2018. So y'all know I love, love, love Beyonce. And this past summer, I was able to see her in New Orleans, on the Run 2 tour. And what makes that moment very special, number one, seeing her because she's like one of my favorite artists. Number two is that my supporters from the Be Free meetup, they all came together and purchased my ticket for me to go because they knew I would be in the area during the time that she would be there for the concert. And so that is just like, wow. Because I didn't know how that was going to happen. I just knew I wanted to see her. And you can listen to how this manifests and all this happened. I did a whole episode on how I manifested Beyonce in my life. But yeah, that was such a great experience and memory. I have pictures and just so much joy being with friends. And yeah, that was a good time for sure. Another best memory of this year is celebrating 38 years of life and my husband throwing me a surprise birthday dinner that I had no clue was happening. It happened on a Wednesday. My best friends and their husbands were there, and we just had a really, really great time. And this was the first party or gathering that I had or surprise, I would say. And for my husband to pull it all together without me knowing, y'all, it was just so special. Next up is seeing Ayana Venza with my aunt, Diane, I believe in April we went. And I took her for her birthday, and it was a really great experience. I don't know if I had I've seen Ayana before in person, but she was promoting her new book, and it was just a really great experience. So I did enjoy spending that time with my aunt. Then the last two things here, and this one just happened last weekend, was girls' night at my bestie's house. And we just learned some very exciting news. It's bittersweet for her. She's going to be relocating to another state. And so we decided to get together and have like a girls' night. And actually that girls' night turned into a girls' night sleepover weekend. And we just had so much fun eating, laughing, drinking wine, talking, chatting, and then watching movies like chick flicks, and it was just such a great time. And so that was really a highlight or one of my best memories of this year, because my friends and I have talked about them all the time. We've been best friends for 24 years, and we laugh like we're still 18, 19 years old. And I just love them so much, and they're more like sisters to me. So being able to spend that time with them for a whole weekend, no kids, just chilling, relaxing, and enjoying each other's company was oh so great. And then lastly, one of my best memories is getting my Girl Be Free tattoo. For my birthday, actually, I treated myself to a tattoo, and I wanted to get Girl Be Free on my arm, just to remind myself to always be free and live my best life. And I am really, really dedicated and committed to doing the inner work, and I just wanted this reminder. So getting the tattoo this year was really one of my best memories. All right, now on to some other things. Some of the lessons that I've learned this year. I have the power to manifest whatever it is that I want. And I'm noticing that happen more and more. Like when I put my mind to something and really put intention behind it and speak it out loud and believe that it can happen, things are happening quicker than I ever thought that they could. And it's because I spoke them out loud. I've written about them. They're posted everywhere. And I'm starting to see more and more that I have a lot of power. And as long as I believe it, like I can really transform my life. And I'm seeing it right before my eyes. Another lesson that I learned is that it takes time to nurture relationships, but it's important that I be intentional about that and I make time. With being a full-time entrepreneur, my time is spent a lot on the business. But then, of course, I have to make sure that I'm making time for nurturing the relationships that I say that are important to me. And so that whether that's spending time with my family, just my husband alone, my friends, my grandmother, my aunts, like that is important. I definitely can do a better job in all of those relationships. So that's something that I learned, that it takes time and I have to make time for it. A lesson that I learned is that I am worthy and I am valuable, and that nobody else can define my worth but me. And I have to be vocal and not afraid to say out loud, yes, I am worth this and this is why. And I think the first part of that is that you have to know your worth. You have to believe that you're worthy before anyone else can know it and believe it for themselves. All right. Lastly, a lesson that I have learned is that I have to check in with myself more often. And then I have to be even more self-aware and honest. So when I'm not feeling my best, I have to notice the triggers that are happening around me. And then I have to be honest with myself and say, okay, this is how you've created this yourself, or this is how you played a part. And what are you going to do, to make things right? So not obviously playing the blame game or anything else, but taking ownership of how I showed up in a situation or how I didn't show up, and then what I can do moving forward. All right. Next, what I need to spend less time doing, or what I've noticed that I need to spend less time doing, being on social media. So many of you know, because I've talked about it a few times in the podcast, is that I'm on a social media sabbatical hiatus right now. I've been off since mid-November, and I'm not getting back on until sometime next month. What I realized, I've realized a lot over this time, is that I'm definitely way more productive and having more clarity being away. If I'm honest with myself, the time that I'm spending on social, I can't say if it's really hitting my bottom line. And so I have to be honest, like if I'm on there to be social, that's great. It's really cool to connect with people in all these different places. But for me, I don't always have to be on or always have to be posting. And so that's something that I'm going to spend less time doing next year. Next up, I need to spend less time doing work that needs to be passed on to someone else. So as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the work, basically 90%, 95%, I'm a solopreneur. Here and there, I brought people on to do different tasks or projects or what have you, but overall, it's just me. And what I realize is that I cannot do it all. It is impossible. And I want to work smarter and not harder. And so there's certain things I just shouldn't be touching that needs to be automated, or it needs to be passed off to a VA or something like that. In order for me to grow and excel in the ways that I desire, I have to bring on help, and I'm going to have to invest in it. And I understand that, and I'm learning that, or I have learned that the hard way. And then lastly, I need to spend less time suppressing my feelings. So I have a habit, and this probably applies more so in personal relationships, based on how I grew up. And I'm an only child with my mother, and she's the one who raised me to a certain age, and then my grandmother. I have a habit of suppressing my feelings, and that is not healthy. Or I have a habit of getting silent and going into solitude when I don't want to deal with certain things, and that's not okay. Like I have to spend less time doing that and more time being vulnerable, speaking my truth from a healthy place so that I can move on from it. Next up is what I could have done better, or what I made less progress on. So 2 things that stood out for me in 2018 was I didn't work out as much as I needed to. I started eating more things that I wasn't eating last year that I can see after taking pictures that have affected my body. And so again, being an entrepreneur, and I'm not making an excuse, but it's easy to get caught up in your work. However, physical activity is very, very, very important. And because I've been sitting behind a computer, not being as active, yes, I've had spurts of different things that I've done, but as far as like the year, like really committing to physical health, like I said I wanted to, I didn't show up in that way. And I am now seeing the results of me not doing anything. And I don't like the way that I look, just to be totally honest with you. And so I committed to going to the gym, that I'm now active and going almost on a daily basis. And the goal is to get to my best optimum health, what feels good to me. So I'm not proud of that it took me this long to kind of figure it out, basically the end of the year. But I am proud that I figured it out at this time. So as I go into next year, like I'm already doing the work. And I took pictures yesterday. I had my husband take some pictures of me in the sports bra and my biker shorts just so I could see where I was. And I was not okay. I was not happy with that. And I'm like, oh, that just turned up something in my head like, all right, we got to get it done. So that's one thing. And then the second thing that I could have made, I could have done better this year, but I made less progress on was spending quality time with my family. So I work really heavily on the business, but then quality time, just having fun with the family, I didn't make that much progress on. And that's something that I'm going to be intentional about in 2019. So some of the best purchases that I made this year, I want to share 5 things with you. The first thing is I hired a coach. And that was an investment for me that I'm really, really glad that I made. I've been wanting to work with a coach and I wanted to find someone that was perfect for me. And I did just that. I made the investment. I've been doing the work. I can see the benefits of working with a coach. That has been huge thus far in just the few months that we've been working together. So I'm very, very grateful for that. That was a great investment that I made. The next one is I hired a VA for a specific project in my business, which has been like weightlifted. So I'm glad that I did that. And I'm also hiring another VA specifically to help me with my retreat that I'm having in 2019 that I will be able to announce more details coming up soon. Another best purchase for this year was books. I love books. I purchased a lot of books and I'm very happy with them. Next up is my bookcase. So that has been one of my highlights, my best purchases for 2018. And then lastly, therapy. Y'all know I talk about therapy all the time. Went to therapy initially dealing with mother issues. This year I shared in another episode, I can't remember which one, but I talked about like abandonment issues with my father that I had never, ever even thought to deal with because it just didn't cross my mind. But I decided to go back to therapy this year specifically for that. And I'm so glad that I did because I feel like I'm working through some things and that as I'm working through it, God said, okay, you're ready. Here's a connection with your brother. It's just been really, really great. And so therapy has just been life-changing to me, and I am an advocate for it and will always push it, will always go. I don't go like all the time. I'm one of those people where I can go as needed because I have different resources and things that I can do in between the time. So yeah, that's me. I know some people can go every week, every 2 weeks. It just depends on what you need, but that was one of my best purchases this year. That's everything that I wanted to share for my review of 2018. Next week, I'm going to share what's to come for 2019. Your action step this week is to do a year review for yourself. Answer the questions that I shared on the previous episode titled 21 Questions. Make a list of the things that you're proud of, some of the lessons that you've learned, where can you make more progress, and be honest with yourself. That's your action step for this week. Now on to dope women doing dope things. And this week I'm highlighting a member of the Be Free Inner Circle, as well as she's one of my coaching clients, and her name is Deidre. And the reason why she's a dope woman doing dope things because she's doing the work, y'all. Like she is working with a nutritionist for her health. She's working on her career so that she can get to the next level. And then she's working on her personal growth by coaching with me. And I'm just so proud of her. Even in the short amount of time that I've known her and seen her in the Be Free Inner Circle, she's committed to doing the work. And she's definitely a dope woman doing dope things that I wanted to highlight this week. Let her be your inspiration. If you haven't been showing up for yourself, just start taking small steps. One of the things that I'm proud of her for is that she's not making excuses. She knows that she's been making them for a long time. And one thing that she shared with me on our discovery call, which if you want to sign up for a discovery call, you can do so by clicking the link in my bio if you're ready for one-on-one coaching. But one of the things that she shared with me in our discovery call was that she got a lot of free advice from her friends, a lot of free advice from other people, but none of that advice was helping her get to the next level. And many of the people that were sharing things with her was in a stuck space. So, you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so she realized that in order for her to grow, she had to make some adjustments in her life. And sometimes, and this is what I told her, sometimes the journey will be lonely and everybody cannot go. And that is totally fine. You're going to have to find new communities and new friends with people who are on the same wavelength. So that's why it was amazing, because she started off in the Be Free Inner Circle and then we started working together one-on-one, but she's doing the work. And I think sometimes if you're waiting for all of your friends to get on board and they never get on board, then guess what? You're going to be stuck and stagnant too. And every year is going to look like the previous year. And you're going to be frustrated that the life that you really want to live, you're not even living it because you're waiting on other people to come with you when they're not supposed to go with you in the first place. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This was a great episode. I hope you learned some things more about myself. And don't forget, you can share this episode with your friends by posting on social media, texting the link to your friends. Definitely feel free to share your feedback by leaving a review on Apple Podcast, and it might just get read on the episode. You can shoot me an email at hello@girlbefree, and that email address will be in the show notes as well. And even if you just want to share your key takeaways or what have you, feel free to always shoot me an email to do that. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. I am just so grateful to be in this space. And I keep saying it because it's what I really feel. Until next time, girl, be free. Thank you for listening to the Girl Be Free podcast. This episode is sponsored by the Be Free Inner Circle, a global online community of women committed to taking action and showing up for themselves in a big way. Members of the community enjoy monthly group coaching calls and workshops, a book club, unlimited resources, community support, and most importantly, accountability to challenge you to do the inner work and show up for yourself. Become a member today at BeFreeInnerCircle.com and discover what it means to really be free and live your best life with a collective group of positive, like-minded women. Again, join today at BeFreeInnerCircle.com, and we can't wait to see you in there. Thank you so much for listening. Your support means the world to me. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling really fancy, go ahead and leave a review. Until next time, be free and live.